So please confirm if my screen is visible to you all.
Yeah, Ram.
Okay. So in the last session we have discussed about sample unit creation, virtual machine types and disk types, and VM deploy from portal, and VM deploy from Azure CLI, and VM deploy from images. Okay. After that, we discussed about availability set, availability zone, scale set. So I hope you all practiced these three topics because this is very important one. And wherever you go, you must be working on this high availability options only. At any cost, the project must be having either availability set or availability zone. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about virtual machine management. Here in this part, we are going to cover little bit troubleshooting and day-to-day activities what we do in virtual machine. Okay, we are going to cover those topics as well. The first one, Azure VM overview. Okay, so before go to the virtual machine, I just need to explain the uh, virtual machine network interface. So we all know that this is the VM, and when we reach out to this VM, we would be required IP address. Without IP address, we cannot reach out to this particular virtual machine.
Ram, your in background music is coming. Is there any way to reduce or something?
Okay, just moment. Is it coming more?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Just a moment. I will uh, reconnect my headset. Fine. So this is our virtual machine. To access our virtual machine, either we should have one public IP address or private IP address. So, what is the use of public IP address? When we are connecting from outside of the network, like from the open network, we would be required public IP address. Okay. With the private IP address, we cannot access it from outside. So, when we are accessing from internet, I mean over the public network, so we would be required one public IP address, and that public IP address would be associated with respective VM. Okay, so just assume that this is NIC card. Okay, at the same time, when you are trying to access from inside network, you are already part of the respective virtual network. Then if you want to access the particular VM, then you would be having one private IP. So with the private IP address, you can directly reach out to the respective virtual machine. So the both public IP as well as the private IP are associated with respective NIC card. NIC card in the sense network interface. Okay, there is a component that is NIC card. So that component would be associated to respective VM so that everyone can access the VM. Until unless if there is no NIC interface, then no one can reach out to this VM. It would be in the ideal stage. Okay, so just try to understand whatever the virtual machine you deploy into respective VNet, we need either private IP or public IP. So if you are outside organization, then there is no option, you should have one public IP. But if you are inside your virtual network, then private IP is more than enough to reach out to the respective VM via NIC interface. Network interface we used to call NIC card or network interface or NIC interface. Okay, okay, fine. So in this NIC interface, both private IP and then public IP has been associated. We can associate only private IP, or we can associate only, I mean sir, we can associate both public IP as well. And this private IP, we can assign multiple private IPs to respective NIC interface, but the communication, the RDP will happen only on private IP, which was created as primary. When we deploy a virtual machine, the first time the private IP deployed with primary configuration, so with that IP only we can able to take RDP of this virtual machine, but we can use multiple IPs to reach out other communications. For example, in this VM you would be running multiple applications like Flipkart, Amazon. So like that multiple applications were running. So to reach out Flipkart, you can use one private IP, and to reach out Amazon you can use another IP. So that I mean we can create additional IPs, additional private IPs we can configure based on the requirement. Okay, so we'll have detailed session about this additional IP, and then multiple NIC interface. See here you see one NIC interface I have connected. So like that we can connect additional NIC interface also. So like this you can attach multiple interfaces. Okay, fine. So this is what I just tried to explain before actually getting into topics. First, let me open Azure portal. The first one, Azure VM overview. So I'll just try to deploy on virtual machines quickly, and then I'll discuss about the overview. So hope you all practiced about VM deployments, very well. So I'll just quickly go to virtual machine deployment. So any doubt you guys when you practiced about VM deployment, high availability, scale set? So did you face any challenging, or all went good? Hello, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ram, no
Ram.
Hello.
issues.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, fine. So you have to keep practice everything so that you will get more hands-on experience. At the same time, you can present in interview also that you have did this many tasks, and you can tell them that I worked on this task like that. Okay. Uh, okay. So I'm just deploying the virtual machine. I just filled the basic informations. You see what is inbound rules. We have discussed about this inbound rule. So inbound rule means there are some rules to reach out the respective VM. So as I said, through public IP, when we try to take this VM RDP, we should have one port. So that port is 3389, which is RDP port, and that port would be associated with the respective public IP, and then that is allowed to take this VM RDP. Okay, so that is called inbound port. So there are some couple of ports. You see HTTP, HTTPS, SSH. So assume that we are deploying Windows virtual machine, so we are using RDP port. Suppose if you are deploying Linux machine, then you have to allow SSH 22 port only, then only you can take Linux machine remote. Okay, so if you don't select, if you did not select any public input, public port, then you cannot take RDP. Okay, you cannot take RDP. But if you don't declare, if you don't define the port here, no worries, we can post the VM deployment, we can add the respective ports for RDP purpose. Okay, so just for you understanding, I'm not going to define public port now, because I just want to show practically. So I'm just keeping is none. Okay, so next thing, or all are related to disk. So let it be as default. I said OS disk by default 128 GB, and then OS disk type is premium, standard, HSD. So this type, and all the settings are as usual. Okay, so whenever you practice, as I said, you have to keep remember all these, key parameters. These are very much important. When you are attending interview, they will ask what is OS disk type, and what are the types available, and what are the OS disk size are available, and what is key management, PMK and CMK, that you have to remember. Okay, so we'll go for networking. So I don't have any virtual network created. So by default, it is creating one new virtual network, and that is fine. And subnet also I did not created anything. So it is taking the new subnet from this virtual network. And you see here public IP. So I said whenever the VM deployment happen, we have to deploy. I mean, we have to assign public IP if suppose we are from outside, or private IP. Okay, so here you see it's asking public IP. So what I will do now, I am not going to give public IP. So if I did not give, then I cannot take RDP of this machine from outside. Okay, let's troubleshoot, and we need to fix this issue that I will show. Okay, which means how to assign public IP post VM deployment. Got it? So I just give it as none, and then network security group. Okay, that is our next topic. Maybe tomorrow we discuss detailing about network security group. Okay, just to try to understand small thing about network interface, sorry, network security group. It is nothing. So there is one firewall. It's kind of firewall which is placed in between NIC card. Okay, so just assume that this is network security group. It is just a collection of rules to this respective NIC card. Okay, so what needs to allow, what need not to allow, those kind of rules this NSG would be handling. Okay, so we'll see in the detailing session. Okay, don't worry, just try to understand. There is a one firewall block. This is virtual machine level. Okay, this is just locally virtual machine level. That is network security group, and it is having collection of rules. Got it? Fine. So what I'm giving here, if you give none, then the network security group will not be created here. Created, and you cannot access RDP or any outside from to this respective VM. But later you can create network security group and attach to respective VM. That we'll see later. Okay. So as of now, what I do, I'll just create it none only. Okay, because I will show how to create network security group separately and to associate to this VM. Fine. Okay, so rest all the settings same as it is. Just click, and I'll just in the in the monitoring tab, you see the diagnostics called boot diagnostics. Okay, this is also we would be using in troubleshooting purpose. Okay, I will show in the VM options, VM management options. So as of now, I'll try to create. I guess I didn't give user ID and password. Let's see. Hmm. What is the user ID and password I gave? Okay, fine. So let it create. Any doubt, guys?
Ram, Ram, if you don't mind, can you go to that monitoring option?
Okay, sorry, it's deploying now. Tell me what is the doubt in monitoring?
Uh, we had a load balancer there, right?
Load balancer is there in the basics tab only. No
Basic.
worries. Okay, you can, as of now, you can ignore it. Okay, load balancer is a different concept. Probably we will be covering next week. Okay, by that time I will explain. If I say all the options, you will again get confusion. That's why what which are required mandatory, I'm just discussing about that, and others are I'm just ignoring as of now.
So we should select
Okay,
none there, right?
exactly. By default option is none. Okay, so whatever, I mean, whenever you deploy the virtual machine, if you don't select public IP or network security group or whatever, by default, one NIC interface, NIC card will be created and that will be associated to the VM, because this is the component of this is the respective component to the virtual machine. Though you did not define public IP and network security group, these are additional components. Okay, if you don't declare this, define these two component also, when you deploy the virtual machine, the NIC interface by default it will be created, because the we are placing the respective VM inside VNet. So the VNet behavior will create one NIC interface, and that NIC interface will be associated to VM, and it will assign one private IP to take RDP inside this virtual network. That is the default behavior. Okay, so whatever VM you deploy, by default one network interface card as along with one private IP will be deployed. Okay, so you see the virtual machine is deployed successfully. So I'll just go to the component, go to virtual machine. Here, just click on the virtual machine and you see overview dashboard. Okay, so this is what we are actually going to discuss in our topic. As per our topic, first one, VM overview. Okay, so you see the virtual machine is deployed, and the status you see running, and the location and the subscription and where which resource group it is deployed, and you see which is the operating system for this machine, Windows Server 2022 data center. And you see the size of this virtual machine, two CPU and 8 GB RAM. And you see there is no public IP associated, because while deploying I did not give public IP. Okay, and which network under this VM is deployed? VM1 VNet is the virtual network, and subnet is default subnet. Okay, so in this dashboard you have to remember these options, because every time in your, I mean, suppose you are working in Azure project, so most of the things that you check in overview only. Okay, so just to try to remember the components and the points where it is actually located. Okay, fine. Okay, so next, come down slowly, you see the properties of the virtual machine. Here you can see the computer name, which means the virtual machine name here, and what is the operating system it have. And then image publisher, who is the image publisher? Microsoft Windows Server is the image publisher. And image, who is offering this image? Windows Server is offering the image. And image plan is 2022 data center Azure Edition. You might be remember, when we deploy the virtual machine using Azure CLI, we have seen these three options: image publisher, offer, and then plan. Okay, after that VM generation. So this is actually important thing. Okay, there are two generation, gen 1, gen 2. This is generation V2, means it's a gen 2 virtual machine. So gen 1 and gen 2 kind of virtual machine architectures it has, Azure has. So I guess now default uh, generation is, by default it is coming V2 only for all the virtual machines. Okay, suppose in your project the virtual machine might got deployed few years before, then the generation might be having V1 like that. And virtual machine architecture is 64-bit and agent version. So this is one of the important component. Agent status is ready and agent version is 2.7.41. I guess we last time we discussed about this one, but still I will repeat the agent. So in each virtual machine, each all the virtual machine, the agent would be installed, that is called Azure agent or Azure guest agent or Windows guest agent. So the naming, but just try to remember, is a guest agent. Okay, so why this guest agent installed inside the virtual machine? So this guest agent will gather the respective informations inside the virtual machine, like if anything happening, crash, voice crash, CPU over usages, memory over usages. So it's kind of monitoring agent. Okay, so it will just gather respective informations and it will give to Azure. So it's a one of the intermediate component between Azure Virtual Machine and then Azure Portal. Okay, so based on the agent only, we can see the virtual machine status is running, health status, everything. Suppose if the agent is not ready, if it is goes to not ready state, you cannot take the machine RDP, and you can't even reach out this virtual machine. Okay, so the agent is very much important. In case if you see the agent is not ready state, here in the overview under the essential, you will have one error highlighted, that is agent is not ready, troubleshoot it, like that. So most of the issues how it will be fixed, you have to restart the virtual machines. You can see the option is restart. So when you click on restart, the virtual machine will be rebooted, and post reboot wait for few minutes, the agent will come up ready state. Okay, so this is the general troubleshooting. When you see the not ready state of agent, you have to reboot the machine once. Okay, most of the time the issue get fixed. Got it? Fine. And then host group is none, which means this is nothing in the Azure backend. If we have any host group, uh, I mean the machine would be deployed into respective host group for dedicated and high availability purpose, but you can ignore this and all. And proximity placement group also, you can ignore it. Okay, we'll discuss it later. Fine, so this is all in the VM properties, and you see availability and scaling. There is no zone, no availability set, no scale set is configured. Suppose if you have configured any one of them, it will be present here. And the security type of the virtual machine is standard. You might have remember when when in the basics tab, VM creation tab, it will pop up. It will suggest that standard or trusted, that one. Okay, and then right
Sorry
side
to
you see
interrupt.
networking.
For everyone, RAM voice is clear, or it's only for
No,
me?
it's not
It's
clear. It's
breaking. It's
from
not
past
clear.
5 minutes. It's like that.
I thought it's
Okay,
working for everyone, so I was quiet.
is it breaking or
Yes, ma'am.
Breaking.
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 Yeah.
In between that, some words it's breaking.
okay, but the screen navigation is going smooth, right?
Yeah, yeah, Ram.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Okay, please highlight it because I just closed my room and talking, so there would be some internet connectivity issue, I guess. So is it clear? My voice is clear, or still you are getting
Now clear.
breaking voice?
Now clear, Ram.
Okay, so
Clear.
just stop me whenever my voice is not clear. Okay, I'll just try to
So Ram,
adjust my
can you
internet.
repeat from that agent one because from there only your voice was breaking.
Okay, fine. Sure. So, uh, okay. So this agent. So generally, this agent is called as Azure agent or Azure guest agent. Okay. So this is the intermediate communication tool which is installed in all the virtual machine, and what it will do, it will gather the respective informations like CPU, memory, NIC interface, everything. It will just collect all the information and it will pass to Azure. Okay, communication bridge.
Again,
We can say
voice is
communication.
breaking completely.
Okay, okay. Just a moment, guys. Sorry. So, so this agent act as communication channel between our virtual machine and then our Azure. So it will pass all the signal, like just collect input related to VM, and collect the logs, everything, and it will pass to Azure, and it will show whether the VM is keep reachable or any outages happen to this VM. So this agent will pass the information, and when anything happens suddenly, like OS crash or this VM is hung state, what will happen? This agent will not be functional, so it will be stopped working. And at that time in the Azure portal, here in the overview, we will be getting one error: the agent is not ready, try to fix the issue, like that. The VM will be running state, but it might be in the hung state. VM might be in the hung state or not reachable, or something happen, so the agent will goes to not ready state. So most of the time, I said, we have to reboot it, and then the issue may get fixed it. Got it? Clear? Is my voice is clear now?
Yes, Ram.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so okay, doubts are clear, right, about agent. So you have to check whenever you get ticket from service now. uh, okay, so these entire setup, the respective company projects, they have integrated with the service now. So when the VM goes to not ready state, not reachable, obviously we get the ticket in service now. So the first point what we have to check, whether the agent is ready state or not. If the VM is not reachable, the first troubleshooting is you have to check overview, the agent status is ready or not. Okay, this is the first level of troubleshooting. If the VM not reachable, I think someone asked this question in the last session, how to check the troubleshooting of VM if the VM is not reachable. Okay, so this is the first level of checking. Got it? So on the right side you see networking details. You see the public network is none because we did not assign any public network. And you see private IP address 10.0.0.4 assigned. I said when we deploy virtual machines, by default the private IP will be created along with network interface. That is the default behavior in Azure. Okay, and you see the virtual network and subnet details, and there is no DNS is configured. And you see the size of virtual machine is 2 and 8 GB of RAM, and size is standard D2SV3. Okay, and coming disk, you will see what are the OS disk and what is the status about the disk. And auto shutdown option is enabled or not. It is actually, it is not enabled most of the time. The option would be not enabled only because auto shutdown, we don't want auto shutdown in project environment. So that is why it's kept as not enabled. And Azure Spot, So there is no spot instance as I selected, so that's why it's showing as none informations. Okay, so these all informations comes under property. Okay, and the next tab is monitoring. We'll have detailed session about monitoring. Okay, so no worries about that. But just see here, 6 events are occurred. If you click on the events, it will just show the health status of virtual machine. That we'll discuss in next. Okay, fine. And then capabilities, so you can ignore this one, nothing much is there. Just you will see some update related informations which is not required and not mandatory, and there is no recommendation and there is no tutorial related. So here you see a tutorial, you'll just see the some basic tutorials information, Microsoft document informations. Okay, fine. So the most thing that you navigate properties and then monitoring, these are the two tabs that you use frequently in the project. Okay, so any doubt in VM overview?
What is Azure Spot, Ram?
So Azure Spot is nothing, it's a Spot instance. Like this machine I have deployed, right? This is comes under reservation. But when I deploy, there is a suggestion. If I select Azure Spot instance, the VM will be created for some particular timing, which means the VM is not dedicated and it's not a reserved VM. Anytime, any chance the VM can go for crash or you know delete by Microsoft. Spot instance means just for duration of time, which is having less cost, other than reservation and dedicated virtual machine. So that is called Azure Spot.
Yeah, this one, I mean, WVD is also same, right? Like it's same as VM only, right? Because in my project, we'll be using WVD only. Like as you see the troubleshooting, if the WVD, I mean, if the end user is not able to connect to the virtual machine or the this one remote
Hmm.
desktop,
Hmm.
we used to check like this only. Same troubleshooting we also do perform.
Yeah, all
So I mean,
as I
it's the
said,
same
all
only,
are
right? Virtual machine. Yeah.
yeah, all virtual machines are behind virtualization concept. So the troubleshooting would be similar for all the platform. Even if you go for Amazon AWS or GCP, the basic level of troubleshooting would be similar.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So in the overview, the first option is connect option. So this option is for connecting to this virtual machine. Just click on the connect. So you will get a connection options. Yeah. So you see this is my private IP address. With with this IP address I can take RDP, but I did not configure public IP. So that is why you see here it is showing the information port 3389 needs to configure, because we did not configure. And you see the most common native RDP, just click on select, it will give the IP details and how to take RDP of this VM. When you click on download RDP file, the MSTC file will be downloaded. You see VM1.rdp file will be downloaded here, and when you just click on this file, the RDP connections will be established. Okay, as of now it will not happen because this is private IP and we are outside our organization, so we cannot take this VM RDP. Let it be. So actually this is not required. Generally what we do, the MSTC are configured in all the lab on the system. So in command just to type, run command just to type MSTC, you will get RDP, and here directly you can put the IP of virtual machine and you can directly take RDP from here itself. Okay, So instead of going this one, you can take RDP from there. But just try to understand about connect options. And there are some other options also to connect this virtual machine. One is from Bastion host. Okay, that we'll discuss about. We will discuss in later. Okay, but as of now, just understand that connecting in the connect options, we'll get public IP and private IP. As of now, we configured only private IP, so that it is showing only private IP. Okay, so again I'm going back to connect option, and then the first option is start. So this is the option to start this virtual machine. Okay, so start this virtual machine. On top of that, OS is running. So start means start the virtual machine. Restart means complete restart of this virtual machine. Okay, and then stop this entire virtual machine. When you click on the stop, the virtual machine forcefully stop. At the same time, the OS running on this VM, the OS also forcefully stopped. Same like in your laptop, you have a power button, and when you long press, the VM will, I mean, your laptop will forcefully stop. At the same time, when the laptop is running, you just go to start, and here you will see the power option, shutdown, restart. Okay, so these two behavior happen inside this operating system, not from the laptop. When you restart, the OS will be rebooted. When you shut down, the OS will shut down first, and then your physical machine laptop will be shut down. The same concept in the virtual machine. When you stop the virtual machine, the machine will be forcefully stopped. At the same time, the OS running inside the VM also forcefully stopped. Okay, and then capture options we have discussed. For imaging purpose, creating imaging from the VM, we have to use this option. And delete this VM options, this is the delete option. When you click on delete, you will get a pop-up to delete what are the resources to be deleted along with this VM. So you see this VM1 is virtual machine. Along with that, respective component, OS disk, network interface, these are additional component are associated with this virtual machine. In case I don't want to delete my OS disk and network interface, because I need to create one more VM with the same OS disk and same network interface. In that case, I don't want to delete these two resources. Mean I can just uncheck these two option and click read here and delete it. So when you click on delete, only the VM will be deleted and these components are retained back. Okay, so this is the options that will come in delete mode. And refresh mode, whenever you see any errors or something you found, you try to refresh here, so it will just refresh the component. For example, the agent status were not ready, so after reboot still the status is showing not ready, means probably it will take some time, 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, so you have to wait and see. So for that, you can just try to refresh the components, whatever changes that will take refresh, and the latest refresh will update here. Okay, and these options you can ignore it. This open in mobile feedback, this is not required. This is nothing we can open in mobile, but that won't be a good practice as a Azure admin. Okay, fine. So this navigation, so any doubt in overview options? Guys, able to hear me, right? Hello.
Yes, Ram, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Please confirm, so that because my there is some noise from my background, so that's why I'm just asking. Okay. Fine. So we'll go for next option, activity logs. So this is also one of the important way to check the virtual machine activities. Same thing, whenever you get any you know VM related issues, you first see the logs that anybody changed anything or anybody make some modification in the virtual machine. So all the status will be updated in the activity logs. So I will tell one live example. Suppose in our team, like Prashad or someone rebooted this machine. Okay, just they have rebooted, but as admin I don't know who has rebooted. So how we can track those information? So that can be identified in activity logs. So just go there, you will get the logs will be saved here, and you can track the information. Based on the suggestion, we can point out to them. You see here, it is showing my name, my email address, which means I have done some changes. I have recreated the machine, so the status updated with my name. So suppose if it is updated by someone, so you can highlight them and you can ask the reason. In case the somebody stopped this VM, the VM will not, will not be reachable, and you get the ticket that VM is not reachable in service now. So what you do, immediately go to active logs and check who has stopped the VM, and you can highlight them, that why you rebooted, and you can just mark them in escalations or something. Okay, so that is why these activity logs are very important. And you see there are some filter options here. The time span, as of now, by default it will show 6 hours. Okay, but you can fetch the report for last 1 hour, 6 hour, 24 hours, last 1 week, and last 14 days, 2 weeks, last month 30 days, custom size. Maximum 90 days report can be fetched in the activity logs. Okay, maximum 90 days. Just remember, because every time, I mean most of the time, you would be working in the VM troubleshooting, so activity logs will be very helpful. So time span by default 6 hours. So it can, based on, suppose if there is no status updated in last 6 hours, means go to next level of time span is 24 hours, just to try to check. Still you are not found, then go for last 2 weeks. So like that you can find out the logs, and you can generate these logs, you can export these logs. You see, downloads as CSV format. When you click on download, the logs will be saved in Excel CSV format, and that you can open and see the logs. So like that you can generate the logs as well. Okay, so this is the main thing in activity logs. Fine. And then IAM. So last time we discussed about IAM roles. For, I mean, IAM roles, which is called RBAC role, that how to check our access and how to assign the role assignment to others. Okay, you see, check my access, just click on that. You can see your access of this subscription level and then this resource level. So I have service administrator. That's it. If you want to assign roles to others, you can go ahead and assign here. But as I told, if you are contributor, if you assign with contributor access, then you cannot assign the roles to any of your colleagues or teammates. Okay, but you can have all the activities handled using contributor access, but you cannot create or assign any access using contributor. So just revise the RBAC access or RBAC roles once again. Okay, when you have a free time. Fine. And tags, when you deploy the VM itself, there is a options called tags. Tag. So based on the criteria of virtual machines, we can define the tags. For example, This is my development server, means I'll just give development, and server machine something, project name is something, I will give HCB01 hyphen dev. So like this. So these tags are very important to identify what this machine belongs to. Okay, when you go for project, obviously you can see the tags. Okay, so you can give the tags values, and you can easily identify. Fine, I'll just click on save. So this option you can ignore it as of now, leave it. And then settings options. So in the settings, one moment, uh, search solution is allocated, cannot connect to. Okay, so I think this is the new option they recently brought here. So diagnose the VM and solve the problems. Microsoft by default some predefined troubleshooting steps and procedure they gave. For example, cannot connect to the VM performance issue, VM restarted and stopped unexpectedly. When you click on that, you will see some errors and the way to fix the issue. Some diagnostics steps they have given. Okay, but uh, most of the time, whenever we get issues, we troubleshoot and fix it by default. No, in case if we still not able to fix the issue, we will reach out to Microsoft customer care. Okay, so just leave this diagnostics option on. So next option is networking. Okay, so here is the actual important thing for this virtual machine. So in the networking, I see here, you can see the virtual machine network interface, the card, NIC card. You can see what is the NIC card name that is assigned, and what is the VM network, I mean virtual network, and then subnet here, and what is the public IP assigned here, what is the private IP assigned here, and accelerated networking. This is different concept, accelerated networking. Okay, in the networking session I will explain about accelerated networking, placement group something. Okay, so no worries on this as of now, just ignore it. Okay, and see here, this is the network interface, and this network interface configured with IP config 1 IP, which means this is the primary IP. As I said, whenever we do deployment, the private IP will be created as primary. That is what assigned here. IP config primary IP is configured and inside this network interface. Got it? So these are the informations, and you see something inbound port rules, outbound port rules, which is showing us empty. So this is nothing. You remember, right? When I deploy the VM, I did not associated any network security group. I did not created security group. So these two comes under network security group. Okay, we'll see in the next, I mean, upcoming topic now. Fine. So now what I'll do, I'll just click on my network interface and I'll see the options. Just click on the network interface and you will get network interface options. Okay. You see overview of the network interface and what is the IP, private IP that is associated with network interface. You can see those information, and there is no public IP assigned, and this NIC card is associated to VM1. VM1 virtual machine, the network interface is associated. So why I am explaining each and everything, this is really required when you are inside Azure project. Okay, you have to check which NIC card is assigned to VM. So suppose if if the NIC is not assigned to any of the VM, here in the attached state it will show us none or empty. Okay, and other than activity log, same as I said, go to IP configuration. Here you can see the which network the network interface is assigned and which subnet it has, and you see the primary IP config 1. This is the primary, and you can see the status is dynamic. I'll come to the point in the later, no worries. So the primary IP is assigned. Okay, so as of now you see there is no public IP is associated with this network interface here. Okay, and come to DNS server. By default it use Azure DNS. Okay, so you can just leave about DNS. Okay, and network security group, this is what we discussed. Network security group which is required to allow incoming traffic. Okay, so you see here in the diagram, network security group is kind of firewall which will be allowing the traffic, public traffic or inbound to outbound traffic. Okay, so that is as of now it is none. I did not give any network security group. And other than that, property and log other properties, you will see the network interface ID. This is the respective resource ID of this network interface. Okay, so other than that, these options you can as of now ignore it. So I'll just go back now. So you see in the properties MAC address, so for each and every machines it would be assigned with one MAC address for internet purpose. Okay, even you might be seeing this MAC address in your mobile also. So MAC address is just bind with the network card. Okay, so I'll just go back one step. So we have discussed about network interface, how the structure, how the NIC card, and how the options are. Fine. And here in the top you see attached network interface and detached network interface. So this is what I said here in the diagram. We can assign multiple network interface. So it's not like that it should be one, or it should be one. There is no condition like that. We can attach multiple network interface, network cards. Okay, so you see the option is grayed out because the virtual machine is keep running, so that the option is grayed out. Okay, so as of now just leave it, but try to understand the components and the parameters where it is there, where it is present. When if somebody asks where is network where to attach network interface means, you have to remember, go to virtual machine and then virtual machine settings, networking, and then attach network interface. This navigations very much important. Fine. And then connect options you can ignore. We discussed already how to connect the virtual machines. Okay, and then Windows admin center, that you can ignore it. Okay, which is not required. This is different concept and this is not at all required. Okay, and disk options. Okay, so disk option here, you actually see how many disks are attached to this VM, and in the top you see this is OS disk, and only one OS disk is assigned. The disk type is premium, size is this much, and encryption status and host caching details are shown here. And data disk means it's a additional disks. Okay, you see, click and attach new disk. So this VM having only one OS drive. Suppose if I want to add additional drive, then just click on add and you will get it one disk to be added. You have to define the size of the disk and all. Okay, we'll discuss it later. Sorry, Discord changes. Okay, so disk details we have to see here, and VM size of the virtual machine. We can choose the virtual machine. We can resize of this virtual machine. We'll discuss it next. Okay, fine. So next option is availability and scaling. If we configure the machine into availability set or availability zone, that we can see the status here. So whatever I am saying, those options are important. Okay, so configuration is, this is nothing. The uh, VM configurations, when we deploy, that information is available here. And extension here, this is also nothing, I can ignore it. String host operation to shut down backup string shows troubleshooting. Okay, okay, so the next options are operations. Before that, go to properties, and here you can see the properties of the virtual machine, agent status, same thing that we discussed in dashboard overview. Okay, and this is the resource id of this virtual machine. So why I'm repeating this resource id, this is the important id. So anyone can ask the resource id of virtual machine or resource id of resource group. So each and every resources having their own id, unique id. Okay, so this is required when we do automation. Okay, that is what I am repeating. Okay, and lock is required. So if somebody accidentally deleting this virtual machine, they should not delete the machine. So we can create the lock symbol. Okay, so you can give lock name, and lock type is delete. Just click the notes and save it. Who has created the lock, they can only able to unlock the VM and delete this VM. Okay, until unless no one can delete this VM. So that is what we can make the lock for this VM. Okay, and then operations, there are some set of operations for the virtual machines. The first one is bastion host. Okay, so what is bastion? um, it's very okay, let me quickly tell about that. If I ignore small thing, then it will be again very burden to me. So what is bastion host? It's very simple. This is the VM, and this is our VNet. So we all know that to access this VM, we need either public IP or private IP. Okay, so sorry, public. This is private. In case I want to access with public way without assigning public IP. Okay, I don't want public IP, but I want to access this machine inside this particular network. Okay, in this way, the concept they brought, that is bastion host. Bastion host So when you try to take RDP with the Bastion host, um, yeah, this Bastion host having one public IP, and from this Bastion host you can directly take RDP of this VM. Okay, that is the concept they brought for Bastion host. This Bastion host have one public IP and it has one private IP also, because the Bastion host are located inside the particular virtual network. Okay, then why it is required public IP means, when you take this VM RDP, what Bastion host actually do is, with the help of public IP, the VM will be accessible over the browser. You see here, if I suppose, just assume that this is the Bastion option. When I click this Bastion, next tab will be open here, and the VM can be accessible using browser. Okay, that is the concept of Bastion host machine. Okay, so yeah, so that is the reason it required one public IP, because when we take RDP of this VM, the Bastion host will open browser in our lab, in our machine. With the browser we can able to RDP of our machine. This is browser, but the Bastion host having a private IP, because that is the this Bastion host is component of VNet. It's a one of the component. It has private IP, so that the VM can be reachable from this private IP to this private IP and this private IP to VM. But with the public IP, we can take RDP. So any doubt in Bastion host? Hello.
No, Ram.
Okay. Fine. So few projects they use Bastion host, and most of the project they will not use the Bastion host, because it has a public IP and there may chance to attack happen this network. That is the reason most of the project they are not preferring to use Bastion host. So up to 100 machines can be taken RDP of this Bastion host within the network. Up to 100 machines we can take RDP of all the machines using Bastion. Okay, so that is the concept here. So just try to understand Bastion. In case if they ask interview, you have to tell this scenario, what is the purpose and why it is required like that. Okay, and then auto shutdown. I said auto shutdown, we disabled it, but if project required the during the some period of time the VM must be in auto shutdown means, you can define the particular scheduled time of the shutdown and time zone and the notification also, but this is not a preferable way. Okay, and then backup, leave it, this is different concept, separate topic. And disaster recovery, this is also separate one. Actually this is not comes under our topic, but at the end of the session I'll just give some some small intro about disaster recovery. um, yeah, so these are the main options are in operation task. One more last option, that is run command. So what is the use of run command? It is nothing, uh, without taking RDP of our virtual machine, we can execute some commands using this run command options. Okay, suppose I need to fetch some OS related information, but I don't want to take RDP, or in case RDP is not working, you are not able to take RDP, but still you want to get some information from the VM. So that is the main purpose they brought this run command options. So here we can do few activities without RDP in the Azure portal itself, but this is not the suggested one. Okay, the reason is uh, sometimes they whatever comments they have given here, which will not reflect inside the virtual machine, but try to understand this is also one of the way to run our PowerShell commands and execute some commands. You see, first one is run PowerShell command. So just click on that, you will get one CMD options to run. Yeah, you see here one command line option came. So what I do, just I will type one command, get hyphen VM. Just I'll run this simple command. So it will throw the output. If the commands are correct, it will take some amount of time also. Sometimes this is not the preferable way, but during some troubleshooting, these options may be required. Okay, so comments are not correct. Get hyphen host name. So it will take some amount of time. Yeah, you see, I just simply gave one simple command host name. It written as the host name of this machine. VM1 is my host machine. So it written. So like that, you can execute some commands. If suppose you can see the IP configuration, the command is ipconfig. You can execute the command and you will get the result. So this way, this run command option is used for troubleshooting purpose. Most of the time we use this run command in case the VM is not reachable state. Let's wait to give this output result and then we go for other few options. Disk. Okay, you see here it has written IP configuration informations. Without logging inside the VM, we got this IP configuration details. Okay, so this is how this tool is used. There are some predefined script, PowerShell script. If whenever it is required, we can just run it. RDP settings, IP config. So some are there. Okay, whenever you have a time, just check these commands and try to execute and get the result for practice purpose. Okay, fine. And then monitoring options. So as of now you ignore it, we'll have some dedicated session for monitoring. So I'll just, as of now I'll ignore it, monitoring. Other than, okay, next is the important one is help option. So whenever you work in Azure project, the most options, that the most frequent options are help one, operation, and then settings. These are the three options, three categories that you always focus in when you are inside project. Okay, the first one is health option, resource health. Here we will get the virtual machine status, available or not available, or rebooted, restarted from Microsoft. If any kind of outages, platform level outages happen to this particular virtual machine, the status will be updated here. So you see the status, as of now the status is available. In case if anything issue comes here, it will show not available or outages, something error it will show. Whenever you get VM not reachable ticket, so the first option you have to focus, as I said, first one is agent, second you have to check this resource health only. Here we'll get to know what is the current status of the virtual machine. I'll just expand this option here. You see, 7th, actually this is today only, 6th health events occurred to this virtual machine. Okay, sixth health events. You can just expand the option and you can try to see what are the what are those alerts happened. Okay, you can just try to identify that, what timings that activity happened and all. First one, you see around 4:21 plus GMT 5:30 is our Indian timing. Around 4:21 the virtual machine is allocated, I mean it's initiated and then started by user, and then unable to initiate, reboot initiated inside the machine, customer initiated configuration update, stopped on deallocating, virtual machine allocated again. So whatever activities happen to this VM, it will be keep updating the status, and make sure the VM status, resource health status should be available always. And if any outages happen, immediately have to check. Okay, that is the important one, resource health. And sometimes if there is issue from Microsoft end, same only here in the health events only you will get to know, you have to read these commands, there you will get to know who has done the changes and all. If it is done by us, then here it will show the virtual machine allocated by user, or started by user, stopped by users, like that. And then it will show the status, Microsoft uh, rebooted the machine unfortunately due to some technical issue, due to some host failure in the backend. Okay, so this is one important for troubleshooting purpose. Next thing is, this is another important one, boot diagnostics. Okay, so I'll just make the note one. Guys, note down these points and all. Okay, very important one. Why I am repeating every time? Because this is very important one in the project. Most of the things that you have to follow this way only. I'm not sure that I will get it again time to repeat this everything, but that's why I'm repeating today only. First one, agent status. Second, so this is not an exact order, okay, but try to understand these are the steps that you have to focus. Okay, resource health. Third one is boot diagnostics. So first two points we discussed. Now we discuss about boot diagnostics. Okay, so go to the boot diagnostics, and here first of all, what is boot diagnostics? Oh, whenever or your laptop or system something goes wrong, what we do, immediately we press F12 and we open system configuration settings, system boot settings, right? The same way in in Azure virtual machine, the boot diagnostics options came to picture for troubleshooting and getting the VM status in the live manner. Okay, so there is no console for this this virtual machine to see the running status of the VM. We don't know how the VM is running and what screen, whether it is rebooting or it is stuck somewhere, OS crashed. There are so many outages happen, right? Like OS crash, VM hung, updates are happening in the machine, in the server, in the VM, and etc. So when the VM is not reachable, so these are the possibilities that happen in the VM. Okay, so how we can check if the VM OS is crashed? How we can identify first? If the VM is in a hung state, how we can identify? So obviously there would be some console to understand what is happening inside the virtual machine, right? So that option we can see in boot diagnostics. Okay, so here by default, uh, when we click on boot diagnostics, nothing will come. But when I deploy this virtual machine, I have chosen boot diagnostics option. So what it will do, this boot diagnostics, every few seconds it will capture the virtual machine home page. Okay, you see control alt delete, this is the virtual machine Windows machine home page. So it take the picture and it will present to us, and it will show the status of the virtual machine. When you get this window, we can consider the VM is running state. Okay, which means we can see the logo, Windows logo, and the date and time. So there is no issue with the virtual machine, like that we can identify. But suppose instead of this logo you are getting full black window and you are not seeing any date or timing like that, you have to assume that there is a um, what is that there is a chance that VM went to hung state if it is complete black screen. Okay, now what I do, I'll just refresh here. You can see the date will change here in the screen. Let me refresh again. You see 1206, earlier it was 1201. So the status of the virtual machine, it's keep updating here. Okay, so that we can understand of the virtual machine. So how to configure this boot diagnostics? So in the settings, just click on the settings. If there are three options of boot diagnostics. First one is enabled with managed storage account, enabled with custom storage account, enabled disable. So by default the boot diagnostics enabled. Okay, if you don't want to this option, just you can click on disable and click OK. The boot diagnostics would be disabled. Try to understand again this picture. Every time the system, I mean, the Azure will take the picture and the picture will be saved somewhere. Okay, it will be stored somewhere. From that storage the picture will be represented here. That is what here three options they give. First one, enable with managed storage account enable with custom storage account disable. So managed storage account means when we choose this option, Azure automatically create a storage account, and the picture whatever it is taking, it will be stored in Azure side only. But suppose I don't want the default option, I have my own storage where I can maintain for this board diagnostics, then I can choose that particular storage here. But as of now I did not create it. Okay, but here it will come. So second option means your own dedicated storage where the images, where the pictures will be stored. But the first one, the pictures will be stored by Azure. Azure in the storage account automatically. If you disable that one, the board diagnostics options will not work and it will be in the ideal state. You see, I have disabled the board diagnostics option. So whenever you deploy machines, you might not remember this board diagnostics and it might not selected. So by default, you see like this window only, board diagnostics. So go to settings, just enable it, and it will take few minutes to capture the image and store into storage. Then it will reflect. Okay, so this is the main important one to see the VM console. Okay, VM console means VM dashboard. How the VM will be running, what is the status, updates, everything we can see in board diagnostics options. It will take some time. Okay, so which means it is taking some time. It will to reflect the image again. Okay, so whenever you get a request, the VM is not reachable. The first option agents, second option resource health, third option is board diagnostics option. Third option is boot diagnostics option. And after agent, I have told about activity logs to see the logs who has done the changes and all. So any doubt in these points, guys, you can ask a question. I will repeat, I will repeat many times, no worries. These are important concepts. As an administrator, you must be knowing troubleshooting first. That is why I'm repeating multiple times. So any doubt, guys?
Ram, Abhishek here.
Yeah, Abhishek.
Hello. Yeah. Can
Yes,
you just
Abhishek.
explain? Yeah, yeah. Can you just explain that resource health somewhat?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So in the resource health, this is the health monitoring tool, which is always monitoring the VM. Okay. So what this resource health will do, it's keep monitoring, and what are the if anything goes wrong, it will capture the logs and it will throw, it will update the health of the events. Suppose the VM is rebooted, then the status will update here. The VM is rebooted. As a live, I will show now. I'll just reboot this mission, and the status will be updated in the resource health. You say I'm rebooting the virtual machine. Whatever reboot, stop, restart, start, everything, the status will be updated in resource health. So whenever you get any kind of VM reached not reachable issues, you have to first focus on this resource health. The status it is showing is available, right? Make sure it should be available. In case if it is not available, you can find out the reason why it is not available. The issue
Oh,
happening from our side, admin side, or the issues happening from Microsoft side. Based on that, you have to escalate to your incident management team, because each and
oh,
every incident the incident team will ask the reason why the incident is triggered. So after
Okay.
you analyze the input informations, you have to report them. The issue happened from our side or project side. Some people, client people rebooted unknowingly. So those informations you have to gather it. So that is the main reason the resource health is used here.
Okay.
Now you see I have rebooted. We'll wait and see the status now. As a live, I will show this resource health. See in the Azure, very as administrator we should be very strong in few concept, but other there are so many resources are there. We just understand, we just know what is what, that much is enough. But for the administrator, virtual machine level is very important. Because we are the IAS admin, we would be working more into IAS part only. Okay, it is still rebooted. Started. I think it's still restarting, and so not status is not updated. And one more thing, when you do any changes, it will automatically the changes will goes to notification, and in the notification panel you can see whether if you reboot means, here in the notification you can see the reboot is progress like that. So don't refresh this entire page. Okay, if you do refresh, the notifications also will go off and you cannot lively see the status of activities. Whatever you do in the notification, it will show VM deployment is in progress or VM restart is in progress, start in progress. Sometime some critical virtual machines will take more time to start, minimum half an hour, 45 minutes and all it will take. So in that case, don't refresh entire page. If you refresh, you will lose this notification, and then you cannot lively track where it is pending. So if this means, you can understand the timing, how much time it's taking. And let's see, where is Rishad Health? But still it is not updated. It should update actually. Maybe it's taking, my internet is slow, I guess, also it's not updating status. Let's wait. Okay, options came, maybe it will. But if you see in the activity logs, you'll, the activity logs update immediately. Okay, I'll show in the activity log. See here, restarted visions. I have restarted just 4 minutes before. You see the activity log is updated, and who has done these changes, the name of the person also reflect here. So based on that, you can inquire with the persons. If it is client people means why you rebooted. So like that you can start your inquiry. This is activity logs which is there in our troubleshooting steps, second one.
Okay.
Resource health. uh, I will show for both diagnostics also lively. Okay, how the status are updated. You see 7 health events are occurred. Before it was 6, now it has 7. And you see the last status, it is 5:45. The machine is rebooted by user. Okay, customer initiated. If it is initiated by Azure means Azure initiated, or user initiated means, I mean, I am the user, so rebooted by myself, so that's why it's showing as customer initiated. And you can see the exact timing and the alerts triggered and all. So likewise you can track your machine. Okay, so I hope this resource health is clear for everyone.
Yeah, Ram.
Okay, so the same way I'm going to show Hello. Yes, Anusha. Anusha, who's this? Hello.
Not me, Ram.
Okay. Who is this? Tanya? Okay. So fine. Same way, I'm going to show boot diagnostics how it is capturing the images. Okay. So I said this is also troubleshooting when the OS is crashed or VM is hang state or VM is rebooted, it is not coming up. So suppose you rebooted machines more than 10 minutes, the servers did not come up for RDP. So how you can track this activities and all, how you can lively check where the VM is stuck or it is hang and all. So that way we can check in boot diagnostics. Okay, you see the machine is up and running only as of now. What I will do, I'll just go here and reboot the machine once. Now again come to boot diagnostics. So I said the image will be each and every second the image is capturing and the image will be represented here. Okay, so now I have rebooted the machine. So you see the status is rebooting. Here you just try refresh and see the status of the machine. Okay, whenever you do refresh, the timing will be shown here, refresh timing and all. So just keep refreshing, we can understand where the VM status. Keep refreshing, so it will show boot window also, VM boot timing, boot window also. 12:19. So still the VM is not rebooted. I mean the reboot is initiated, but it is not rebooting the machine. So we are not getting the status till now. If the VM is rebooting means we will see black screen. Well, let's wait. Restarting. 12:20. The last update is 12:20 time. UTC time. So still it is not captured, I guess, image. So last refresh 12:21, still not captured. Still it is not rebooting. If the VM is completely power off, then you cannot see any kind of window. Okay, make sure the VM is running or rebooting means the status will update here. If the VM is completely powered off, then the boot diagnostics screen will not open. Why it is taking this much time? More than 3 minutes. Still the status is not updated here. So I guess there is some issue with the VM. That's why it's taking this much time for reboot. Still taking 3 minutes. Okay, so rebooted is successfully. In the notification it came as rebooted successfully, but in the window we did not see that live capture. But you noticed the last capture was 12:21 After that it did not come up, so we'll just wait and see the status. Okay, so the VM is rebooted, and after rebooted you see the time is updated 12:23. Actually the boot screen also will come, but not sure why it is not coming, because we have selected Microsoft storage, I mean recommended storage. That is why I guess we have to choose our custom storage, so that I guess each and everything will be captured. But this is rebooted, and you see our post reboot also the machine come up and we can see the latest timing. Okay, so this is how we need to monitor in boot diagnostics window. Okay, so any doubt? Can we move for another one? Next option. Hello,
Yeah, we'll go
guys,
on.
can we move? Yeah. So the next one is performance diagnostics. Okay. So as of now, you can take take it light. Okay. This is required to analyze if any issues found in the machine level. We can run this tool and it will fetch all the related logs from inside the machine, like CPU high usages, memory usages, if particular application is causing the memory, or particular application is making issue with the CPU. So those informations, this performance diagnostics will capture it. Okay, so uh, if we want to run this one, it will take some amount of time. First we need to install this performance diagnostics, then we have to run the log. It will capture all the logs. Just try to understand what is what. That much is enough. Performance diagnostics. Okay, so this is also one of the troubleshooting steps only. This short form is performance diagnostics. Performance diagnosis short form is perform PEFMOM. Okay, so nothing, just install and run diagnostics. It will capture and it will show where is the issues, high usages and all. Okay, so nothing to worry in this option. Next thing, important thing is reset password. Reset password. So when we deploy the machine, we gave user id and password. Okay, so in case that user id and password, default user id and password is not working, you can reset your password in the portal itself. The default password is not working means you can give user id, password and confirm password. It will reset the password. In case you don't know the username what you gave while deploying, no worries. What you can do, you can give any new user something, new user, give password and confirm password, so which will create new user inside the machine. And with this new user you can take rdp of the virtual machine. Okay, so this you may use in project frequently to reset your built-in administrator password. Got it? So second one, another one important option is redeploy and reapply. This is also comes under troubleshootings. Redeploy, reapply, and this is the interview question also. First one we see about redeploy the redeploy. So redeploy means I will just show in picture also so that it will be more clear. So what actually redeploy will work is, this is your, I mean, this is physical server from Azure side. Okay. So on top of this physical server, our virtual machine is running like this. This is the fact, right? So our virtual machine is running. In case, uh, uh, in case some system related issues, some configuration related issues, config related issues, some crash related issues, what will happen, the VM will be crashed and we cannot reach to this VM. Okay, so the redeploy option, why it is came to picture, if any issues happen in this VM, generally what we do in our laptop, uh, if the VM, if the OS is not responding, what we do, forcefully we stop the machine and then forcefully we start the machine, right? Same way in Azure, we have options called redeploy. So what redeploy will do actually, when we do redeploy, the physical, I mean the VM virtual machine, physical server, this virtual machine will be migrated to another physical server. This is one, this is two. If something issues happening in the VM, so there will be some chance that there will be some uh, issue with the physical server. There may be some chance, we don't know what would be the cases and all, right? So because we don't have access to physical server, but we we can move this machine, physical machine, sorry, we can move this virtual machines to another physical server using this redeploy option. So when the VM is moved to one physical machine to another physical machine, there will be a chance, 90% of chance to fix the issue. Okay, 90% means, just for understanding I'm saying, okay, uh, whatever error or bugs in the physical machine, in the physical one machine, when we move the machines VM to another physical machine, the most of the issues will be fixed and the VM will be able to accessible from another physical machine, able to access. Okay, try to understand what is the use of what is the use of redeploy interview at any cost. They will highlight this question, so you have to answer that. Migrate the virtual machine to one physical machine to another physical machine, live migration only this is. Okay, and whatever bugs happen in the physical server one, those issues will be rectified in the another server and the VM will be able to accessible. This is in redeploy options. Okay, any doubt in redeploy?
Nora.
Fine. The next option is reapply. So reapply in the sense, this is very simple. within the physical server itself, you are refreshing the VM, which means hard rebooting this particular VM, which will refresh all the failed uh, files or corrupted files and all. Just it will refresh. That's it. Refresh, reapply. Uh, yeah, whatever provisioning file, system related files, everything just it will be refreshed. Okay, and yeah, that's it. So these are redeploy and reapply. First, whenever you get any failure issue, VM failure issue, first you do reapply and wait and see whether the failed status will go and the VM is coming up or not. If the VM is not coming in the reapply option, then you go with redeploy. Okay, got it? Any doubt in redeploy and reapply? So I guess all clear. Okay. So another one troubleshooting way, that is through serial console 8. So this serial console mainly used by Linux servers. If you are using Linux machines, then using the serial console, we can we can work directly in Linux machine without taking SSH. Serial console, we can directly work in Linux machines like this. But this is Windows machine. When we open serial console, SAC, this is called as SAC. This should open, and this is completely for troubleshooting purpose. Microsoft will guide for us because they have some SAC commands. Using that SAC command, in case if the VM is having some failure, means they can try to rectify using SAC options. Okay, so here itself you can forcefully restart the VM and reset the VM. Okay, restart means the forcefully restart of the virtual machine. Reset means for hard rebooting. Okay, which will reset all the files and everything, then the VM come up. So that's what you have to, when issue comes, you have to restart from the portal. If that does not work, then the serial console you can try reset the VM or restart hard rebooting and all. Yeah, you can try, and if nothing is work out, you can go for redeploy option also. Okay, so any doubt till now?
No.
Okay, so I guess everyone are clear. So Azure VM overview we discussed, password reset, redeploy options we discussed. Next thing, so hope you all know that this VM I did not attach the public IP. Now I am going to show how to attach the public IP and how to attach the inbound public port 3389. You remember na, I did not selected port 3389. I did not select it. So without 3389 we cannot access, we cannot take RDP. Okay, so first what I'll do, I'll create one public IP and I will assign it. So go to networking. So I said in the last diagram, so the public IP and private IP are associated with respective network interface. So go to networking and network interface card. Click on the network interface and you will see the basic informations of NIC card. Go to IP configuration. Here you see the IP1, IP config 1 is the primary IP. Just click on the IP address, IP config. You will get a screen like this. Here, come down and you see public IP address setting. Click on associate public IP address, and here default new public IP address. Okay. So here associate public IP address we have to give. So if we have created already, then it will come in the suggestions. In case if you want to create live, then just click on create public address, give some name, VM hyphen public IP. SKUs basics are standard, let it be in the standard. Okay, so I created one IP, public IP, and just saving this configurations. So it will take roughly 2 minutes of time. These all whatever I'm showing, these all are work related. It is not a theory or topics. This is completely work related. So that's why I'm showing one by one. You should understand how to associate IPs with how to associate public IP with private IP. So in the last picture, you might be knowing that VM NIC management. I said both public IP as well as private IP are associated with network interface. You can see the diagram here. In this NIC card only we can associate a public IP and private IP. This one. So this is what we are doing now. Okay. So you see network updated, updated network interface is updated. Try refresh here. You see one public IP which we created that is assigned to this VM. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take RDP of this machine, just copy this IP, just give this one. You see still the RDP is not happening, it is still loading. So any idea why it is still loading? Anyone? I'll just open the diagram also. Anyone just can say now. I have repeated this question many times. Anyone can tell what is the reason I'm not able to RDP?
Public is not enabled. IP.
Public IP enabled, right? You see, we have configured public IP. We have
Okay.
associated now. Yeah, we have associated public IP. What else is left? There is one more configuration is left. That is why we are not able to.
Private IP also do we have to do?
Sorry,
Private IP.
private IP it is there already.
Yeah.
We are not inside of this Azure network, so there is no use of private IP. We
Private
cannot
IP.
take RDP using private IPs. The only way we are outside organization, outside of network, using public IP only we can take RDP of this machine. Public IP is assigned. So as I said, public IP is assigned, but port 3389 did not enabled. In the beginning, very beginning, I told I am not enabling port 3389. I'm not adding this security group also. Okay, so this is important thing. I'll just go back to VM network setting. Okay, here again go to network interface. go to network security group. You see the network security group is none, because the port 3389 can be given, I mean this port 3389 can be given inside this security group only. It is not a independent port. Whatever port we are opening, that that is through network security group only we can open any ports. Okay, so this VM, the port 3389 did not configured. So I am just going to create one network security group, and then I will add the network security group, then I can able to take RDP. So don't worry, network security group is a separate topic. Maybe tomorrow or next week we will cover. As of now, try to understand. In this machine we created public IP, we have a NIC card, but port is not configured. So how can we configure the port? Using NSG only we can configure the port. Fine. So I'll just quickly go ahead and create NSG. So just type network security group here, create network security group. So NSG -1, I'll create it. So no worries about creation. I will again explain in next class about this NSG. NSG also very important topic. NSG I will tell later, but as of now I hope you understood. Without port, public port, we cannot access RDP. But in case if I am inside this network, inside this virtual network, means I don't want any port, because by default inside the network the port is allowed. 3389 is allowed. I can take RDP directly. But we are outside organization, so we need port is enabled. Okay, so network security group is network security group created. Again go to VM, go to virtual machine, go to networking, go to interface, network interface, go to network security group. Inside the interface, here in the drop down you see the NSG1 which we created came to picture. Okay, just save this one. So NSG I have created, but still I did not open the port 3389. Still I did not give the port. So you see NSG1 is added to this VM. So I'll just again go back and go to network security group. So NSG1 I have created. So here there are two set of rules are there. One is inbound rule, another one is outbound rule. Okay, we'll have that's what I will detail. I will, in the more detail I will tell in next class. So this is the VM. Okay, so I need to access. I need to access this VM, which means incoming request. So this is incoming request, and inside the VM to outside this is outgoing request, outcoming request. Try to understand what is incoming, what is outgoing or outcoming. Incoming. So now can anyone tell where I have to create, where I have to enable the port 3389? Incoming, sorry, inbound or outbound? The namings we can call it as incoming or inbound or outbound. That is not an issue. So now anyone tell me where I have to open this port 3389?
Inbound.
Correct. Inbound, because we are the outside network and from here to VM, that is incoming request. So in the inbound, we need to allow port 3389. So I'll just go to inbound rule, click add here. The source is any source, and the source port number is anything. Source means outside network, and the destination is destination also anything. And here the service is, what is our service we required is RDP. So destination IP also anything, but the service is RDP, and the port is 3389. The action is allow, the priority 100. Leave about this priority and other stuffs. Okay, just try to see the service RDP, source, destination. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll just click add here. You see, when we select 3389, it is showing us 3389 is exposed to the internet. Okay, I am creating this rule. In the NSG session, we will have detailing about all the components. Okay, as of now, just don't confuse more. I am simply saying adding the rule in, opening the port. Okay, opening the port in NSG. Okay, so the port 3389 is now allowed, which means in the diagram, in the NSG level, this is the NSG level. So in the NSG level, the port 3389 I have allowed it. So now I have public IP created, and 3389 port I have opened. Hope now I have successfully able to take RDP of this machine. So let's we try once again. Okay, so just come back to VM, go to virtual machine and see the virtual machine public IP address. Okay, so this is the public IP address. What is that? 20.121.212.175. So I'll just click on connect. See the magic now. See, it is prompting for user ID and password. So I'll just give my user ID and password. Hit on enter. Okay, see the magic now. And you understood, right, the way how I share the how I open the port 3389. See, with the public IP address, with the port 33 opened in NSG, I am able to successfully log into this machine. So fine, so we logged into the VM, and inside the VM you can check the IP address of the machine. You see, inside this machine the IP address is private IP address. This is private IP address. If you want to see list of all the IPs config slash all, where you can see all the IPs that is associated with this particular VM. Here you will see public IP, where it is network interface trust configured. Okay, that is fine. Yeah, so password reset, deploy, and something we covered about nick card changes and all. So guys, any doubt till now? And you have to repeat these steps every day during the practice, so that you will get really hands-on experience on this VM level troubleshooting as well as uh, the components whatever we discussed. So any doubt till now?
No, Ram.
So okay,
No.
so I will just cover one more quick small topic and then we'll wind up today. Is it fine to continue or we can close for today?
Can you do it tomorrow, Ram?
Okay, fine, no problem. That is also fine.
Yeah, Ram.
Okay, so yeah, fine. We'll connect. We'll continue tomorrow. So Nick, Nick about Nick card, private IP and public IP topic that I have covered today itself. Okay. Fine. Fine, guys. So let's take 2 minutes of time to revise and discuss about any doubts or clarifications. So any doubt till now?